Why are there not more people talking about how the web is about to change everything we know about the internet? If you've ever wondered who really controls your data, or what the next big leap online could mean for you, you're in the right place. Before we dive into Web 3 or Web 5, let's take a moment to clarify what the web actually is, how it works under the hood, and why it matters so much in our daily lives. Imagine the internet as a vast, invisible network connecting millions of computers all over the world. The web is the friendly, accessible layer that sits on top of this network, making it easy for us to browse, search, and interact with information using web browsers like Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. The web isn't a physical object you can touch, but it's built on a foundation of protocols, sets of rules that computers use to communicate. The most important of these are HTTP, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and TCP/IP, which stands for Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. TCP/IP is the backbone of the internet, handling how data is broken into packets, sent across networks, and reassembled at its destination. HTTP sits on top of TCP/IP and defines how messages are formatted and transmitted, and how web servers and browsers should respond to various commands. Every time you visit a website, your browser, like Chrome or Safari, acts as a client. It sends an HTTP request to a remote server, which is just another computer somewhere in the world. That server receives the request, processes it, and sends back a response containing the text, images, videos, and code that make up the web page. This exchange happens in milliseconds, thanks to the underlying infrastructure of fiber optic cables, routers, switches, and data centers that make up the physical internet. Over the years, the web has transformed dramatically. It started with simple static pages written in HTML, hypertext markup language, that just displayed information. Soon, new technologies like CSS for styling and JavaScript for interactivity made web pages dynamic and engaging. Today, we have complex web applications that can stream movies, host multiplayer games, and connect us with friends around the globe, all running in our browsers. Each new version of the web has introduced groundbreaking technologies and fresh ideas about how we use information. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are the core building blocks, but there are also countless other technologies, like APIs, databases, and frameworks, that power everything from social media to online banking. And crucially, each era of the web has brought new questions about who gets to control and access that information. Understanding the history and the different versions of the web is essential if we want to grasp why new concepts like Web 5 are emerging, and what problems they're trying to solve. From the early days of static web pages, to the rise of user-generated content and social networks, each stage has built on the technical foundations laid before it. The story of the web isn't just about making websites faster or prettier, it's also about who owns your data, who can access your digital identity, and how much control you really have over your online life. Technologies like cookies, authentication protocols, and encryption all play a role in shaping your privacy and security online. So let's break down how the web has grown up over the years, explore the technical foundations that make it possible, and see why so many people believe it's time for another big leap forward in how we experience the internet. Let's rewind to the 1990s. Web 1, the read-only web. This was the dawn of the internet as we know it, a time when simply being able to access information from your home computer felt groundbreaking. The web was a new frontier, opening up a world of knowledge to anyone with a modem and a little curiosity. Back then, websites were static. You could read text and see pictures, but that was it. Pages were built with basic HTML, and most sites looked like digital brochures or flyers. There were no animations, no videos playing automatically, and certainly no way to interact with the content beyond just reading it. No comments, no profiles, no social media, just information published by a few, consumed by many. The web was a one-way street, with content creators on one side and readers on the other. You couldn't like, share, or respond to what you saw. Think of it as a digital newspaper or encyclopedia. You'd visit a site, read what was there, and move on. It was a library, not a community. Sites like the original Yahoo or early CNN were just directories or news pages. They helped you find information, but you couldn't add your own voice or perspective. You couldn't interact or contribute unless you knew how to code and had your own server. Publishing something online was a technical challenge, reserved for those with the right skills and resources. The power was with the publishers who owned the servers. They controlled what was posted and who could see it, acting as digital gatekeepers. This model was revolutionary for access to information, but it was limited and passive. Users were mostly silent observers, unable to shape or influence the content they consumed. As more people got online, they wanted to connect, share, and participate. The desire to interact, to have a voice, and to build communities began to grow stronger. The limitations of Web 1 set the stage for a more interactive social web. People started to imagine a web where everyone could contribute, not just consume. People wanted to be part of the conversation, not just spectators. The internet was ready for its next evolution, a place where everyone could participate and connect. That desire led directly to the next big shift, Web 2, the interactive web, where the internet became a place for sharing, collaboration, and community. Enter the early 2000s. Web 2, the read-write web. This was a turning point in the history of the internet, a time when the web transformed from a static collection of pages into a dynamic, interactive space. Suddenly, the internet wasn't just something you read. It was something you could participate in. The big change? The web became interactive. Now anyone could create and share content, not just consume it. Websites evolved from simple information boards to platforms where users could post, comment, and collaborate in real time. The barriers to entry dropped, and creativity flourished as millions of people found their voices online. Social media, blogs, and video sharing exploded. Think YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. These platforms became the new town squares, connecting people across continents and cultures. Suddenly, you could follow your favorite creators, join global conversations, and share your life with the world at the click of a button. You could upload videos, write posts, comment, and build communities. Online forums, fan groups, and niche communities flourished, giving everyone a place to belong. The internet became a living, breathing ecosystem shaped by its users. The internet became a two-way street, powered by user-generated content. People collaborated on projects, shared knowledge, and even launched businesses from their bedrooms. The world felt smaller, more connected, and full of possibility. But here's the catch. All this happened on platforms owned by a handful of tech giants: Google, Meta, Amazon. These companies built the infrastructure, set the rules, and controlled the flow of information. To use their services, we handed over our data and digital identities. Every click, like, and share became part of our digital footprint, tracked and stored by these corporations. These companies stored everything on their servers, giving them enormous power and control. Our personal information, preferences, and even our conversations were kept in vast data centers, far from our reach. The trade-off? Convenience and free tools in exchange for our data and privacy. We got seamless services, but at the cost of being constantly monitored and analyzed. They monetize our information through targeted ads and can censor or delete accounts at will. Our online lives were subject to algorithms and moderation policies we had little control over. This centralization of power is the core problem Web 3 set out to solve. The dream? To return control to users and build a more open, decentralized internet. Web 2 gave us connection and creativity, but at the cost of control. We gained new ways to express ourselves but lost ownership over our digital lives. That's why the next evolution, Web 3, promised something radically different. A future where users could truly own their data, their identities, and their online experiences. Web 3 emerged with the rise of blockchain technology aiming to decentralize the web. The promise: take control from big tech and give it back to users. Instead of data on company servers, it's stored across a global network. Blockchain. Web 3 is the read-write-own internet. You create, interact, and own digital assets like NFTs and your online identity. No single company can control or censor you, at least in theory. Apps called dApps let you log in with a crypto wallet you control, not a Google account. The vision: a transparent, user-centric internet where you're in charge. But while the dream is powerful, the reality has proven much more complicated. So what's the problem with Web 3? Decentralization is tough to pull off. Many Web 3 apps still rely on centralized companies for access, like OpenSea or crypto wallets using centralized servers. This creates single points of failure, undermining the whole idea of decentralization. Plus, using Web 3 is often confusing. Crypto wallets, seed phrases, gas fees. It's not user-friendly. Web 2 succeeded because it was simple. Web 3 feels built for engineers, not everyday users. And Web 3 is built around tokens and financial speculation, which can overshadow real-world utility. The focus on trading and hype often drowns out the technology's true potential. Not everyone wants a financially driven internet. These issues have led some to look for a new approach. Enter Web 5. Here's where things get interesting. Web 5, developed by TBD, a subsidiary of Block, Jack Dorsey's company. Web 5 aims to fix Web 3's flaws by focusing on true user ownership of data and identity, without the crypto hype. The core idea: your identity shouldn't be tied to any company. Web 5 uses decentralized identifiers, DIDs, a universal username you control, and decentralized web nodes, DWNs, your personal data locker. You decide who accesses your data and can revoke access anytime. No need for a special token or cryptocurrency to make it work. By separating decentralization from financial speculation, Web 5 keeps the focus on privacy and control. The goal: a secure, user-centric web where you own your information. It's a simpler, more direct path to true decentralization. Web 5 isn't about reinventing the financial system. It's about fixing data ownership. It's a new way to put users back in control. Let's see how that looks in practice. Let's make this real with an example. Booking a trip today means giving your info to airlines, hotels, and car rentals over and over. Your data ends up scattered across company databases, out of your control. In Web 5, you'd have a personal data locker, your decentralized web node. When booking, you grant each service temporary access to just the info they need. They verify your identity but never store your data permanently. After your trip, you revoke access. You're in control. Same with music. Your playlists live in your data locker, not trapped in one app. Switch music services, and your playlists move with you. Companies compete on service, not by locking up your data. This shift gives users real freedom and power. You own your digital life, not the platforms. It's a simple change with huge impact. That's the promise of Web 5. Let's compare the web's versions. Web 1, read-only, like a basic car, you're just a passenger. Web 2, read-write, like a modern car, convenient, but the company owns your data. Web 3, read-write-own, a futuristic car, decentralized in theory, but hard to use and still reliant on old roads. Web 5, read-write-own, but focused on giving you the keys. Your identity and data are yours, not tied to tokens or companies. Web 5's approach is simpler: a personal data locker, not a complex blockchain for everything. The goal is true user control and data portability. It's about fixing data ownership, not reinventing finance. Each version builds on the last, but Web 5 aims to put users at the center. That's a big shift. So is Web 5 the future? It's still early days. Web 5 is a concept, not a product you can use yet, but its focus on data ownership addresses real problems with today's web. The likely future? A hybrid, the best of Web 2's convenience, Web 3's innovation, and Web 5's user control. We might see decentralized identity from Web 5 adopted by mainstream platforms, while tokens from Web 3 power niche economies. The challenge is making these ideas simple and seamless for everyone. If Web 5 delivers true control without complexity, it could change everything. Imagine never losing your data, never worrying about privacy, and switching services with ease. The push for a user-centric web is healthy and exciting. Whether it's called Web 3, Web 5, or something else, the next chapter could finally put users in the driver's seat. We'll have to wait and see which model wins, but the future looks promising.